Hey guys, welcome to Yogalates with SJ. It's so good to have you join me for this full body yoga stretch. This is perfect if you are new to yoga or if you are an athlete or just simply looking for a very deep full body stretch. So we're going to be starting in a child's pose, bringing the big toes together, the knees to come out wide, lengthening the arms long and allowing the belly and the heart center to melt down. Taking a deep breath in here and a full breath out. Then on your next inhale, we're going to start to come all the way to a tabletop position. And we're going to begin to lengthen the left arm up as you look up. Exhale as you bring the arm through and thread the needle. Inhale, lengthen the arm up. Exhale, thread the needle. Inhale, lengthening that arm as you look up. Exhale, threading the arm through. Starting to lower all the way down and staying here. You might bring that right hand to reach up overhead, finding a bit of length through that right shoulder and right arm as well, or maybe bringing the back of that right hand to come to your low back, finding an openness through the right front side of the shoulder, keeping your hips nice and square here, taking a nice deep breath in through the nose and exhale it out. Inhaling deeply in and exhale it out. And then on your next inhale, bringing the hand back through center, pressing into that hand. Inhale as you lengthen the arm up. Exhale, releasing back down. Inhale, reaching the right arm. Exhale, thread the needle. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, thread it through. Inhale, reaching that right arm up. Exhale, lowering all the way down. Staying here, coming to the side of the head and maybe reaching that top arm to come up overhead, or you might take the back of the hand and place it to your low back, keeping the hips nice and square to the sky, belly's relaxing down. Your weight is even through both sides, both of the shins here, tops of the feet, breathing deeply in and fully out. On your next inhale, starting to bring the hand back, pressing into the mat. Inhale, reaching that right arm up, looking up. Exhale, coming back to your tabletop. Inhale, rounding the spine, and then exhale, sitting back towards your heels as you find that child's pose again. Forehead coming onto the mat. Pelvis is heavy. Breathing deeply in. Fully out. Then inhale, gazing softly up towards the hands, walking the hands over to the right side of the mat and lowering the forehead back down onto the mat. Maybe you might stack that left hand on top of the right, or just having the hands side by side. Starting to find a deep breath in as you gaze up. Exhale, walking the hands over to the other side and maybe stacking one hand on top of the other, or keeping the hands side by side as you melt the heart back down. Forehead comes back down, releasing the pelvis heavily here. Inhale in, exhale, and then inhale, softly gazing up, coming back through center. Exhale as you start to come all the way back to your tabletop position. Finding a nice long line through the spine, and then inhale as you start to round the spine, tucking the tailbone, and then any kind of little movement here that feels good into the spine. Then we're tucking those right toes, pressing the right heel back towards the back of the mat, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. So imagine you're pressing the shoulders towards the mat, rather than so much placing your weight into the wrists. Really pressing that heel back, finding even more length through the calf muscle, the back of the leg, soft engagement of the core, length through the back of the neck, maybe a little hinge forward and back, any kind of movement here that feels good. And then starting to bring the knee all the way through towards the chest, placing the foot to the outside of that right foot. You can start to bring the foot out as wide as you like here, creating some space for the hips, finding the hips dropping down towards the mat. You might stay up quite high here, or you might start to come down onto forearms. Just keeping those hips nice and square, keeping length through the spine. Maybe the head might start to relax down. Just finding a deep breath in and a full breath out. Maybe if it feels good, you might take your right hand and gently press on the inside of that right knee, opening that right hip out. Just keeping the hips nice and square here, breathing deeply in, finding those deep breaths. Exhale as you come back through center. Starting to bring the foot to the center line and bringing the toes back towards the face as you press the hips back, finding a nice hamstring stretch here. So pressing those hips all the way back, maybe letting the head come all the way towards the knee as you find even more length through the back of the leg. Hips are nice and square here, letting everything relax down. Pressing those hips back. Inhale as you gaze softly up. Exhale, starting to shift the hips forward and then starting to cross the shin across your mat. You might bring the foot a little bit further back towards the pelvis if this is a little bit too intense. Otherwise, you can start to bring the shin to be a little bit more parallel with the top of your mat. Keeping your hips nice and square to the mat here. So we're not rolling over to one side or the other. And if it feels good and it's not too deep of a stretch, you can come all the way down onto the forearms, maybe even lengthening the arms fully out and bringing the forehead down and the belly coming down onto the top of that leg. Breathing in and breathing out. Taking your time to slowly come all the way back up. And shifting back, just finding any little movement here. And then just lowering the belly all the way down onto your mat. Taking a little break before coming all the way back. Pressing the hips back and coming back to your tabletop. And just taking some time here to find that nice neutral pelvis, nice flat back, and then starting to tuck the left toes, pressing the left heel back and finding length through the back of that leg, really pressing, keeping length through the back of the neck so the head and the rest of the back is in the same line. So your gaze is slightly forward of the hands. And a soft engagement into the core, really pressing that heel back even more. All of the toes tucking under, maybe a little hinge forward and back if that feels good. And then starting to bring the knee forward and placing the foot to the outside of that left hand. Maybe you might stay quite high here, or if you feel to come into a deeper stretch, you might start to come down onto the forearms. Maybe if you were opening the hip out on the other side, you might take that left hand and kind of press into the inside of the left knee and open the hip out on this side. Just making sure you're not sort of rolling over one way or the other, keeping the front side of those hips directly in line with your mat. Awesome. When you're ready, we're just bringing the foot back through center and then flexing the toes back towards the face, pressing the hips back, finding length through the spine. Inhale, exhale, letting the head come down towards the knee. Inhale, gazing up towards the foot. Exhale as you press the hips back, allowing the forehead, the belly, everything to mount towards the knee, finding even more length through that hamstring. And then inhale, shifting forward, taking your time, starting to cross the shin across the mat. And again, adjusting the foot in whatever way you feel to. Seeing if you can get both hips sort of coming as close to the mat as possible. We always never want to come into a place where we're holding the breath. So we want to be able to feel the stretch, but we still want to be able to breathe really, really deeply. So if you like, you can come all the way down, or you can be on forearms, maybe fingertips or palms. Letting everything relax here, breathing in and sending your exhale to any area of tightness. Maybe that's the hip. Just allowing each breath to soften the tension out a little bit more, stretching it out. And then inhale, starting to softly gaze up and making your way back up, tucking the back toes under. and starting to shift that left leg to join the right. Just making any little movements here that feel good as you start to come to your tabletop position. So maybe a bump of the hips from side to side, and then making sure that your knees are in line with the hips and the shoulders are in line with the wrists. And we're starting to drop the belly, gaze up, tailbone up, and then press the mat away as you round the spine, bringing the chin to chest and tucking the tailbone. Inhale, gaze up, tailbone up. Exhale, pressing the mat away as you round the spine, chin to chest. Inhale, dropping the belly, gaze up, tailbone up. Exhale, rounding the spine, chin to chest. And inhale, coming all the way back. And we are coming all the way down to a seat, bringing the feet onto the mat, holding onto behind the knees, engaging into the core and slowly starting to hinge back and lowering all the way down to come onto your back. Starting to hug the knees in, wrapping the hands around the shins or the front side of the knees. Lengthening the tailbone down. Any movement here that feels good. It might be a gentle rock from side to side. It might be a bit of movement into the feet, the toes, ankles. Maybe it's a rock of the head from side to side. Taking some really deep cleansing breaths in through the nose and out the nose. Then starting to keep the right knee hugged in as you lengthen the left leg long. Squeezing and using your arm strength to squeeze that knee in towards the shoulder as you lengthen the tailbone out. Maybe a little rock of the head from side to side. Maybe just relaxing into the jaw, all the muscles of the face. Breathing in as you squeeze in and exhale out as you relax everything out. Let's switch it over, coming to the other side, lengthening the right leg long as you squeeze in that left shin, left knee towards the left shoulder. Deep breath in, squeezing it in, and exhale it out, letting go. Awesome. On your next inhale, we're just going to start to reach the arms and legs long, spreading wide through the fingers, finding a really, really big stretch. Inhale again as you reach even further, holding the breath here as you bring full muscle tension to every muscle, and then exhale, releasing, letting the body be heavy into the mat. Let's do that again. Inhale, reaching, finding even more tension through every muscle, holding it here, hold, squeeze, and then release, heavy. Letting every muscle relax. One more time, guys. Inhale, reaching, finding even more of a connection to those muscles, feeling that tension, and then releasing everything down. Awesome. We're just starting to bring the left foot to the mat, and then you're crossing the side of the right ankle just in front of the knee. And then we're starting to either just stay here, or you can thread your hands to come behind that left knee and starting to squeeze in. So if it feels too much of a stretch here to do this, you can keep the foot down on the mat. Lengthening the tailbone down and allowing the tummy muscles to relax. Any movement into the feet and toes that you like, and the ankles. And then let's switch it over to the other side. You're crossing the outside of that left ankle to come in front of the right knee. Maybe the sole of that right foot is on the mat, or maybe you are threading the hands behind the knee and squeezing in. As you do this, finding length through the back of the neck, feeling the whole spine connected, pelvis is heavy, breathing in and exhaling out. And then when you're ready, starting to Bring both of the feet back down onto the mat. And then we're starting to lengthen both legs up towards the ceiling. So the feet are coming up to the ceiling, maybe a little bit of movement here into the feet. You might hold on to the back of the legs, or you might let the arms come out wide, finding a nice openness across the front side of the heart center and the shoulders. Just letting softness be into those knees, maybe bending one knee and then the other. Anything that feels good here with this. Maybe bringing the toes back towards the face as you press the heels up towards the ceiling, finding a bit of length through the calf muscles, the back of the legs. It's alternating. Maybe just keeping a little bend and straighten. And then we're just starting to bring the left foot onto the mat. You're grabbing hold of behind the right knee, or even grabbing hold of somewhere else on the leg. You might even reach up and grab hold of the foot, the toes, ankle. Starting to just bring the foot towards the shoulder. So we are just finding a nice stretch here through the back of that leg and the glute. If you want a deeper stretch, you might lengthen your left leg long. Maybe starting to bend into the knee here, and then starting to straighten through the back of that glute, the back of the hamstring, bending the knee and straightening the leg out as you lengthen the pelvis even further. Awesome. And then just taking hold of the outside of that leg or the outside of the ankle, starting to open the leg out to the right side. And you might take your left hand and use it to ground down that left hip, trying to keep the pelvis nice and even through that center line. And then bringing the leg back through center when you're ready. And then just starting to find a little bit of movement here, maybe just kind of rocking from side to side, holding on to the front side of the knee. And then you can take the leg and gently start to cross it across the body. So you can either have a bend into the knee here with this, and just have the back of that heel softening towards the pelvis, or you can straighten the leg and kind of hold on to the foot or the ankle. Maybe you might do both. You might start off with a bend in the knee, and then you might start to straighten the leg out. Relaxing that left foot, the left leg, and then we are starting to bring that right leg back through center. And again, any movement into the ankle, the foot, maybe a bend and straighten, anything at all that feels really, really nice. Then we're starting to just come to a nice twist here. So starting to use your hand to guide the leg across the body, and just maybe using that left hand to weight down the outside of the knee if it feels good, or you might let both arms come out wide. Letting the back of the shoulders relax to the mat, allowing the head to roll over towards that right side as you relax the neck. Taking some nice deep breaths into the side ribs and exhale as you let the head come back through first. And starting to just roll the head from side to side and unraveling, coming all the way back through center. And maybe hugging the knee in one more time. We're just making a little bit of movement here into that hip. Then we're starting to come to the other side with the stretch. So starting to bring the right foot down onto the mat, and you are lengthening your left leg up towards the ceiling. Maybe holding on to somewhere on the leg. It might be the ankle, it might be behind the knee, it might be the foot. And you might just start to even straighten that right leg out, particularly if you did so on the other side, for a deeper stretch here. And also really getting into the front side of that right hip as well. You might just take a moment here to open the leg out to the side. As you do so, grounding the tailbone down, finding even more length. And then when you're ready, you can start to bring the leg back through center. Anything that feels good here, maybe moving through the ankle, toes, calf muscle. You might be bending and straightening into the leg. Just doing what feels good for you. Maybe noticing if there's kind of any difference between your right and your left. Very often there is some imbalances, so it's really nice to be able to check in with that. And then just finding that length through the back of the leg, through the glute, the hamstring as you press the heel up towards the ceiling. Flexing the toes back towards the face, working through the ankle, taking some nice deep breaths in and full breaths out. Awesome. And then we're just hugging the left knee in towards the left shoulder, and then starting to take your right hand and draw the knee to that center line. So sort of drawing the knee to come over towards the right as you ground the left hip down. Maybe you might keep a bend into that knee, or you might reach up and grab hold of somewhere on the leg, the ankle, maybe the foot, finding a bit of straightness through the back of the leg, feeling a really deep glute stretch as well as a hamstring stretch here. Whatever feels really good for you, just making sure that you're breathing deeply in through the nose and out the nose or mouth. And then taking your time coming back through center and finding anything at all that feels good. It might be to open the leg out again to the side. It might be to bend and straighten into the leg. It might be to find even more length through the glute, the back of the leg, the hamstring, maybe moving through the ankle, toes. And then we're starting to bend into that knee, and we're going to come to our twist. So just starting to gently guide the leg across the body as you start to let your head roll over to gaze over the left shoulder. So finding that beautiful supine twist here. The back of the shoulders are connected. Finding a deep breath in, feeling that side waist expanding, and then exhale, exhale out. Then we're coming all the way back onto our backs and starting to find a rock of the knees from side to side. So finding a little windshield wiper here. You can have the feet about hip distance or even wider apart, playing around with what feels awesome for you in this moment. Maybe just letting the back of those shoulders relax even further into the mat, feeling the openness of heart. Maybe the head rocks from side to side. And then taking your time to find a butterfly position. Soles of the feet coming together and the outside of those knees falling wide. If you want a slightly less deep of a stretch, you can start to slide the feet forward. And for a deeper stretch, bringing the feet closer to the pelvis. Maybe the hands come onto the belly, or maybe your arms come out wide with the palms flit to the sky. Starting to allow your breath to melt tension from the pelvis, the outer thighs, the outside of the knees, the outside of the low legs, and the outside of the feet. Breathing deeply in, feeling the belly and the rib cage, the heart center expanding. And then as you exhale, exhale, exhale all the way out, feeling as the heart center, the rib cage, the belly release all the way back down. Feeling the whole body becoming even more relaxed here. Feeling the hips opening out even more. The outside of the thighs heavy. Tummy muscles relaxing. The whole of the spine. The back of the neck. Back of the head. Awesome. And you might just start a little lift and lower of the knees. So just keeping in this position. Then maybe just lifting and lowering the knees to find a little butterfly flying. And then taking your time to start to close those knees back up, letting the inside of the knees fall inward. And connecting the inside of the knees as you bring the feet to about hip distance or even wider apart, somewhere where you don't need to hold anywhere in the legs. You can just let one knee support the other. And then just feeling the inner thighs relaxing inward, the hips rotating inward, pelvis is heavy, finding those deep breaths in through the nose and out the nose or mouth. The whole body relaxing and releasing. You might bring your mind to notice the connection of the soles of the feet connected here. Noticing where the back is connected. Noticing where the arms are connected. Bringing your mind to notice the rise and fall of the belly as you breathe. Feeling more and more relaxed here as we start to come to the end of our practice today. Hope you enjoyed today's practice. You might stay where you are, or you might find a forward fold. If you are coming to your forward fold, you might bend generously into the knees and then start to find length through the back of the legs as you start to let the pelvis lift high towards the ceiling. Maybe a bit of movement into the head and neck, anything that feels good. You might nod the head yes, shake the head no, letting the arms ragdoll down, feeling everything relaxing down. Maybe taking opposite elbow in opposite hand. You might find a little rock from side to side. Maybe the hips rock, or maybe not. You might stay in stillness, just finding some cleansing breaths here. In through the nose and out the nose or mouth. You might start to wrap the arms around the back of the knees or the back of the low legs as you lift the pelvis even higher towards the ceiling. As the belly comes to the top of the legs, finding more and more length here. Maybe you might grab hold of behind the ankles or behind the heels, or just anywhere on the legs as you start to pull in, using your arm strength to pull you closer to your legs, the belly and the heart, and the head drawing even further down towards the earth. Taking some final cleansing breaths here to finish off. And taking as long as you need before going about the rest of your day or night. It has been so nice to have you join me. Can't wait to see you again soon. Have the best one, day or night, whatever it is that you're doing. See you soon. Namaste.